Joining us now, we're excited to have her on for the first time as she's the associate coach at Indiana, was a two-time all-conference performer as a player at UNLV, has been to the NCAA tournament as a player, as a coach. We speak of Kendall Fearn making her In the Circle debut. Welcome.
Thanks, Eric. Excited to be here. Appreciate you having me on and just very thankful for all you do for our sport.
Always appreciative. We've now had everybody from Indiana. We've had Coach Stan on forever, for a long time, and of course we've had Coach Bell on recently. And we're like, all right, you're the missing piece here on the puzzle. So we've excited. We've wanted to have you on for a while. Well, how has it been like this fall and now here into January, getting the team ready here for the 2022 season?
We've had an exciting fall. We are ready for 22 to hit. Because it has been many years leading up to this point to get this group, Team 49, together. We're really excited about this group. All fall, we've been competing day in, day out. We love what we got to see in game in our fall games. I think we're continuing to see this sleeping giant that we're building at Indiana. We take a lot of pride in our culture, and our personnel. And I think, that speaks volumes about our excitement going into this spring.
You went 25-19 last year in this unique 2021 season that'll be talked about for a long time. Conference only schedule. What was that like for your team to go through that with a unique season the way it was?
This team last year, Team 48, they were lights out. And everybody had, when it hit back in March of 2020, going through, we were actually on the field when we got the news. And those seniors thought they played their last game. And we were able to celebrate them with an impromptu banquet. But we really stuck tight and we worked hard all over that COVID break by staying together and staying focused on what our mission was. And so I think that having that Big Ten only season we had, although it did bring adversity, it brought opportunity. And it wasn't always easy, but we bend, but we didn't break. And I think that our leadership in that senior class really anchored us. And so we made a lot of memories. We had some great moments, some great wins. It was tough that we weren't able to have that non-conference season to give us, some boosts in the RPI, but really we understood where we were at and the opportunities that we were given and just took, made the most of it. We got to see some new Big Ten cities that we had never been to before, and it was pretty cool playing everybody in the Big Ten. But definitely excited to see the tournament come back, the Big Ten tournament come back, and that non-conference season come back as well.
What did you learn from last year as a group? And was there anything as a staff that maybe you took for granted? We talked to Michelle Gascoigne, obviously the Northwestern assistant. She admitted that last year kind of showed her that she kind of took those midweek games for granted and how important they were in the competition and getting ready for conference play and things like not having a conference tournament in the Big Ten. And you mentioned not having a non-conference. Just talk about that. Some of the things you didn't have that you're not used to having.
Yeah, I think, being able to play like this season, we have some great opportunities with some midweeks. We're excited to be able to host, Notre Dame and Louisiana Lafayette here at home, so that is an opportunity that maybe we didn't get last year, but we get this year. But I think really we didn't focus on what we didn't have. It was what we had. And we played every pitch to win. And, it came down to the bottom of the 10th inning against Rutgers, where we were down 1 with 2 outs and Gabby Jenkins stole home. So it was like every game was a must-win situation. So that was a unique opportunity for our team to grow in that way where, you just really didn't have that growth period, to get to conference, to then, kind of create some momentum. We really had to come out of the gates and play ball. And we did kind of have that, up and down, as we got started. But I think there was some opportunities there that were pretty cool with playing, a Big Ten only schedule. But, we tried to stay optimistic with the team and, always looking forward and just, focused on what our challenges were and how we could meet the moment.
Is there I don't know if the word is chippiness or a chip on the shoulder, I should say, among the league Was a 3 bid league last year, but let's be real, perhaps could have been a 4 or 5 bid league if you would have had a normal season, or just a lot of variation, things out of beyond your control. We'll just call it that. Is there a sense of a chip on the shoulder within the league to make a point and prove something to everybody in the country this year with the league and how good the softball is? Because not only you only had the 3 teams in, but the way they were seeded. Do you buy into that from the league?
Yeah, I understand the complications and where the Big Ten was at last year, and although we weren't in the room and I don't understand all the calls, but the chips are gonna fall. But the Big Ten is a strong conference, a very strong conference, and I think our conference does a great job of scheduling so that we can provide a strong RPI for our conference. But when we get together at convention, or when our head coaches get together, we're talking about being at the top and getting more teams in, and that's where we feel like, as Indiana, we want to be a postseason contender. We see ourselves finishing in the top third, and that's where we are going to stay. That's where we want to be, and that's where we want to stay. And so we're focused on what we're doing here at Indiana, and being a part of the Big Ten is an exceptional conference. Love the competitive nature that we see in our teams within the conference, not only on the softball side, but being at Indiana is just a great institution to represent academically in our community. So it's overall, it's a great conference, and I think that 2020 and the 21, the season is behind us, and we're ready to get to work, and we want to be there in the top third, finishing right there. So we take care of our business, and our name shows up on Selection Sunday. And I think as we moved through season, we had a number of how many wins we needed to get to, and there was a few times that the games that we should have won, we felt we should have won. But we knew where we needed to be to really make it easier for us, for our name to be called. And I think we're excited to be moving in that direction, where we're going to have a little more flexibility with that non-conference schedule, as a conference and also as a program for us.
Now, you mentioned Gabby Jenkins, obviously a great player for your program. She's now on the staff as a volunteer coach. How's that transition going for her? And then on the field, I'm not going to say how do you replace her, because you don't, but who kind of steps up now and steps into that role, if you will, that Gabby had?
Yeah, having Gabby on staff is one of the greatest joys of my coaching career thus far. She is a rising star. She's a teacher at heart. She's got a great mind for the game. She's fun. She's, just exciting to be around. So she's electric on the field during her playing career, but that's how she is as a coach as well. She's just really got a knack for creating strong relationships with players. And she's eager to learn as a coach, and just, our coaching staff became even stronger when she joined us. So we get to share an office right now, and it is a lot of fun. Yeah. So there's lots of great conversations. We get to collaborate about the outfield and hitting, and and all things under the sun with our team. On the field, she was a great leader. So she left a culture of, a standard of excellence, and a culture of hard work and good communication and attention to detail, all those things. We actually had really 2 veteran outfielders that graduated last year, with Taylor Lambert and Gabby Jenkins, who were everyday starters and all defensive Big Ten performers, outright Big Ten performers as well. But, so we are going to miss their performance on the field. Gabby made some catches that were absolutely unbelievable. I mean, nothing was dropping in left field last year. In fact, one of the best, probably the best catch I've ever seen, a player that I've coached make was in opening weekend against Nebraska. She was going back on a ball and dove backwards to catch it. And actually Diane Stevenson was in the outfield, because all the parents with COVID, they couldn't be back behind the stands. So they're all in the outfield, and she's yelling, "You got room, you got room." So she lays out and made this unbelievable catch. And unfortunately, the angle didn't get to it. So there's, you don't really quite see it. So it's just ingrained in our memory, but really some special moments for her. And we're just thankful that she can still continue to leave her legacy with our program. So you can never, having a player turn coach in the same program, and that pride, it's just, you can't mimic that. It's from the heart. So it's really wonderful to have her, and excited to see where her career takes her.
That's going to be exciting. I know you've always had great people on the staffs that have done great things and moved on, but the negative is he's not on the field. So talk about who are some of the leaders offensively for you as you run the offense there that you're going to lead. Obviously, I would imagine it starts with Grayson Ratcliffe, who you get back for an extra year there, an all-conference performer.
Yeah, and offensively, Grayson is going to be a clutch performer and a key performer for us. She gets barrel on ball. She's able to drive gap to gap. She can go long ball. She's gotten really good at being able to hit to all fields, like I mentioned, and she just has a different mindset. Like, she's just built differently. So she's going to be the heart on the field defensively and also offensively. I think she's just got that toughness to withstand great pitching and adversity in a long season. Grace Lorsung has been banging the ball this January so far. She has been like just all over the place, just barrel city. So excited for her. And then Cora Bassett is a transfer who's come in, and she had an exceptional fall, had an awesome walk-off, exciting at home off of Louisville. And she swings it. She just comes in, gets her hacks, and she does damage. And then we've got some newcomers Sarah Stone, who's coming in, and she's a hometown product out of Bedford. She can hit, and so excited to see her come on the scene. And then we've got people who just got power. We've got Brittany Ford, we've got Desiree Dufek, Juvia Davis. We've just got people who can hit the ball hard. They've got that mentality, and they can one swing and it can leave the yard. So excited to see what we've seen the success from, some of these players I mentioned, but also with graduating a lot of key players. Now we have new people coming into new roles who are going to get lots of opportunities, where it's the unknown that's exciting. One of our freshmen, Bree Copeland, has some incredible power. She also pitches, and she can play short. She can be anywhere on the field. So it's really exciting to see what these athletes are going to do offensively, but you never know until you get into the season. So our goal this January, our goal is to get 60 at bats off of our own pitchers. And so we're really going to be able to see who's going to be performing in the month of January and in the early stretch of February. And as we also mature our pitching staff after graduating, and Emily Gooden, who pitched a lot. So our offense is seeing a lot of live pitching now, which I think will help us kind of, mature quickly and fail forward and be first up in those moments. So we're ready February when we go down to Boca.
Talk about your offensive philosophy, because anybody that's watched it followed Indiana softball, anybody that's followed Coach Stanton in her coaching career, speed, 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 put pressure on the defense. That's kind of your identity for people that, attack the stolen bases, attack the base, get the extra base, put pressure on the defense. I feel, though, that you've also added some power elements here to the offense, perhaps a little more power than usual. Is that accurate? Just talk about the philosophy offensively.
Our philosophy is we want to lead the Big Ten in stolen bases. And we want to be in the top in home runs as well. So although we may identify as a team that has that run game and has the small ball, but it's been about getting our hitters to not only mature with their own game, but also, with focusing on recruiting, getting hitters who've hit at a high level for a lot of years growing up. And then we continue to develop them, with our player development plan once they get here. But yes, we are lion mode. Nothing happens in gazelle mode. That's what we talk all the time as a team. So it's, when we're on the bases, it is lion mode. It's next 60 feet. We are going to push the envelope. We're going to put pressure on the defense. But really offensively, we're looking for a pitch that we can attack. And when we're in a positive count, we want a pitch that we can handle and something that we can drive and do damage. But I think our hitters have we've gotten better. And even in these last this last week of practice, I've noticed that we're extending at bats. We're getting great barrel. We're being able to, recognize spin and, lay off certain pitches, lay off the off speed when we're hunting something fast early in the count. So we're just maturing, I think, as an offense, through, our 5th year at Indiana. We're just starting to see these incredible athletes develop and rise to the moment. So it's going to be exciting to see what our offense does with the balance of speed and power.
Athletes that now are yours, they recruited, you inherited a lot of players and made it work, but now you have players that fit your system. How is that? That's got to be a big plus here as part of the building. Now you've got these freshmen that you have an identity for as far as how they fit in with your program.
Yeah, I think the biggest separator for us has been recruiting. We came into a really strong group. Our senior class, our first year was awesome. They were so bought in, and we've been really grateful for the relationships and the athletes we've been able to train and compete with at Indiana. But it is very exciting to see these athletes come in, train in our weight room, get into our system. I mean, it is unbelievable. I think people, if they watch Indiana, they're going to see, they might think, wow, those are a lot of athletes out there. I think in every position we have versatility. We have, we have some speed. We've got just general athleticism. That's the best way I can describe it. I've never coached a team that is this athletic top to bottom. So it is really exciting to be able to see that recruiting come through. And that starts from Coach Stanton, because, there is a style of play that we go out and we look for, and we invest our time on the road, and we track at bats, we get times, all the things that coaches do. But we're really looking for a particular skill set that can help us within our system.
You mentioned, obviously, Emily Gooden graduated 18 wins last year. Since you've been there, you've always had that one arm to depend on. Now the big question, obviously, who steps into Emily's shoes? You have a lot of arms, but a lot of young arms, not a ton of experience. How is the pitching going? Do you foresee, a committee approach, or do you think somebody will establish themselves in ace?
We've got, Chanda does an awesome job of developing pitching. She, from our days at Marshall, she developed Jordan Dixon into an All-American, and she threw a lot of innings. And then we got to Indiana and Tara Trainer. She did a lot of awesome things. And then moving on to Emily Gooden, throwing a lot of innings, developing her game, perfecting pitches and just commanding the zone. And also, all the while growing the mindset to be that tough competitor, to want the game ball all the time. So yes, we have been known for that, but as of course, as these pitchers have come in and we've had these veterans, be successful for us, this year we have a staff of 6 pitchers, and they're all very talented, and they all have a specialty that they're going to bring, whether they're coming in to throw one pitch or to one hitter, or we've got a lot of things here going where they can complement each other. So that's as a coaching staff, that's our task, is how we're going to manage them, how we're going to approach the game, to be able to keep the other team off balance. But Natalie Four, she's probably got the most experience, and we're really excited about her. She has unbelievable command about her spin, and confidence in her abilities, and we're really excited for her. She's had some adversity in her career and really feel like she's going to do some wonderful things for us. And then we've got Bree Copeland and Heather Johnson, who are freshmen this year, who both throw very hard, and we're excited about them. One's a righty, one's a lefty. One goes up, one goes down. And then we've got another senior, Taylor Asklin. He's got an awesome changeup. And then we've got Kate Rayberg and Macy Montgomery, who also have had great success in their careers. And again, innings are open. So it's exciting as a staff, because it's like, all right, let's see what happens. It's time to compete. And so, and these pitchers know how to compete. So, and we're seeing that in all this live that we're doing.
You mentioned Johnson and Copeland. In fact, I think you mentioned Copeland earlier. Are they two-way players? Could they be used as a two-way player? Because I know they could play the infield as well. And how do you see those two in particular? Could they contribute on both sides?
Definitely. Yeah, they both can hit. And Bree, I mean, she could play short. She could play anywhere on the field. So, but Heather can also play first base being a lefty. But yeah, they're two-way players. They're great athletes. And so we're excited. I think that's the thing about our team is, we're very versatile in that way. And even with our pitching staff, Macy Montgomery also hits. And she has some speed. So it's pretty cool to be able to work in work in our pitchers in a different way, with the offense and defense in mind.
That's got to be a fun. Pretty athletic players gives you a lot of versatility on a roster standpoint, some different looks. You could do some game management stuff with them where you can keep them in the game if, different positions. I mean, that's a big added bonus. I'm wondering, do you and Coach Bell fight though over like, hey, she needs some extra swings in the batting cage. Can we get her out of the mound there? How do you guys balance those, because you need them to get some swings in and she needs them to get some pitching work done. That's a nice balancing act.
Yeah, it is. Pitching is going to take priority, but I think at this level, 20 hours is never enough to just get your work in on your craft. So our athletes who want to be elite, it's going to take them in the off season. It's going to take them doing work on their own. And so yes, our pitchers are faced with a different challenge, with being able to create space for them to work on their craft offensively and defensively. But we are able to work them in through our circuits and different things, through practice, and they run around and they know what's up and they're ready to go and they've got a great attitude about it. But really it takes more than just what we see them for our athletes to really, really own their game and own their craft.
Speaking with Indiana Associate Head Coach Kendall Fearn here on In the Circle. Let's talk about the staff. You and Chanda Bell, you've both been together since Marshall. You brought in at the same time by Coach Stanton. You both, the staff has worked together since Marshall days over to Indiana. Shonda Bell, we've had on, just recently got inducted to the Kentucky Athletics Hall of Fame. Is one of the greats, Wildcats. You and Coach Stanton went there in support of her. Just talk about this unique bond that you all have as a staff. How did you all come together at Marshall? Let's start there. How did you all come together? And do you remember your first time meeting them and Coach Bell in particular?
This is it's a great story how Coach Bell and I unofficially met. Chanda and I actually played against each other her freshman year. It was opening weekend and she broke a single game record for strikeouts. The first thing we did was check the box score. I had to check and see what my results were. So we joke all the time about, I walked and I flew out. So we joke all the time that I flew out to the warning track or whatever it was. But we have it's kind of it's playful, it's fun, but heck of a competitor. So I after facing her, I knew what type of coworker I was going to get as far as a competitor goes. And her getting inducted to the Hall of Fame was a pretty incredible experience to see how she was celebrated and welcomed by the athletic director and the coaching staff. And we really had a great time in Lexington that night. And, watching her highlight video come up on the screen, it's really a special visual for our athletes to see, not only in moments like that, because we showed them her highlight video as well from the Hall of Fame, but also she throws live. But the way she goes about her business, she is a competitor and she has a switch and she knows where it is and how to turn it on. So our athletes especially our pitchers, to be able to see that is really a great example. So that's how we unofficially met, and we got hired the same summer. At Marshall, and I had met Shonda when I was coaching at UNLV. So I was an assistant coach. I coached 2 years at UNLV, my alma mater, before leaving Vegas. And Kim Martin was a pitching coach, and we met up with Shonda. She was in town recruiting. And so Kim was like, you got to meet Shonda. And of course, I remember playing Marshall. I remember the high energy. I remember her. Nothing has changed. It's the same energy. It's awesome. And, after lunch, I remember thinking I could work for her one day. And so I coached for 1 year at Georgia Southern, and then the position came open and I reached out to her, and it was basically, my bags are packed. I want to, I want to come coach with you. And unfortunately, she's like, unfortunately, there's a hiring freeze right now. And I was like, I'll be the volunteer. Let's make it work. I knew that there was a common, there was a common bond there in terms of our values. We were able to connect on a way where our values were aligned in coaching, and to experience the day-to-day in the office, on the field, doing life with Shonda and Chanda has been an incredible experience. We are connected. We could probably finish each other's sentences. We know each other's thoughts. We know each other's preferences. So it's really a special thing. And we're going on year 9, or this is year 9. So almost a decade together, which is something I'm very proud of. I really have enjoyed my time with our coaching staff, and I feel we're just continuing to evolve. So the best is yet to come, and everything so far has been awesome. And we've experienced from tragedy to championship and every day in between. So it really is a relationship that runs deep. So that's how we met, and we've really never looked back. Shonda got the job in Indiana, and Chanda's from Indianapolis, so that was an easy decision. And coaching in the Big Ten and with them, that was a no-brainer. So Bloomington's been awesome to all of us.
That's remarkable. I had no idea you've known Coach Stanton that long, going back to that meeting. I mean, that's kind of wild. Like, can you imagine if you didn't go to that meeting back then when you were in Vegas, where you would be right now?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about. And I think if people will ask, maybe at convention, I might run into a coach who's in their first or second year, and they may ask me, what advice would you have, for me as an assistant coach? And I just go off of my experience. But I think for me, finding a boss like Shonda has completely evolved my coaching experience. Somebody who empowers me, somebody who, drives me to be better, opens my mind to things, and someone who just cares about me unconditionally. So I know what I'm getting with her, and it's exceptional. She's outstanding.
And I would imagine because your name kind of, when you coaches have success, their names come up for head coaching jobs. And I'm sure, that's been floated with you with the success you've had, as we'll talk about. But I would imagine it allows you to you're probably going to be very picky and very like, okay, I'm not, I've got a good situation here. So it better be something pretty special for me to bolt, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, this is a special place. And I think my family I'm from San Diego, and they love coming to Bloomington. They know what the Hoosier Factor is all about, and the championship caliber program that we're building here, and the players and families that we have now, mixed with our staff and the recruits that we have coming in and their families. It's an exciting time. So I know that our staff and me personally, I'm really looking forward to the community that we have and the community to come. But I think that the success it's going to happen. It's the process, and winners love the process. And, we're just excited that I think we're going to start to see, and I'm mostly excited for our players. We want to get to the postseason so bad. And I think, we're doing what it takes. We have the personnel, and we're excited to go in this 22 season together. But yes, this is I love this staff. They're my family, and it's a really special thing.
Let's talk about your journey. You mentioned you're a West Coast girl, California, from San Diego. How'd you get into playing softball, and how'd you end up at UNLV playing there, where you set a lot of records and arguably is right up there as among the conversation for the best player of all time at UNLV? Just kind of, how did you get to that part?
Well, I grew up a two-sport athlete, played soccer and softball. I ended up getting on a team that, we were competitive, we had fun, the game was fun. And then I decided to specialize in softball. And, recruiting for me, I was the oldest on a young team and we were a new team. So, you know, my recruiting process happened, and that's when recruiting happened senior year. So, you know, I was fortunate to have a common connection with Lonni Alameda. And at the time she was at UNLV. And so I went to a winter camp, and absolutely loved my time there. And then the recruiting process had kind of already started. And then later signed in the spring. And this was a time when UNLV had just come off a postseason year, 2005. They were at the UCLA regional. Had an awesome pitcher, Jackie Kerrigan, Marissa Nichols, freshman All-American, Maggie Lavery. So it was a really special team. And Coacha was, it was a program that I knew I wanted to be a part of. I was so bought in. I was ready to go, and there was a vision, and I wanted to be a part of it. And so my time at UNLV was exceptional. And I had amazing teammates. We had some amazing seasons, exciting offenses, and I really enjoyed, you know, being a student athlete at UNLV. And really my time there fueled me as a coach. I think that my experience with softball at that time, and seeing what Coacha did, you know, as a female coach, and to that time, that was my first, female coach. And so it's like, I knew I wanted to make a difference as a teammate and as a player in the program. But then when I graduated, it shifted. And now it's like, I want to make a difference as a coach. Like, I love this game so much. Let's keep this thing rolling. And thankful for the opportunities that came from my alma mater to be able to coach there and recruit and talk to parents about an experience that I had, had firsthand, was a really natural fit. So I felt comfortable in my first couple of years as a coach.
Describe being around Coach Alameda, because some in the audience may not remember or may not be aware. She was a head coach at UNLV. She was on the UNLV staff before she came to Florida State. In fact, I think she left right before your last year, like the year you made the tournament in 2009 was her first year at FSU. So I think you were around 3 UNLV coaches. Just talk about that period, but specifically being around Coach Alameda back then.
Yeah. But she changed my life. She inspired me to, be a better player, a better person, a better daughter, a better sister, a better teammate, everything. That's what she does. Anybody who knows her, she's transformational. So not only did me as a person, did I get that growth, but just as a game, it fueled my knowledge for the game, and, just wanting to soak up as much as I could. And definitely had an amazing experience with that. Yes. And so she went to Florida State, and then I had 2 more years of eligibility, and I got to play for Hall of Fame coach Pete Manarino. And his first year was when we went to regionals at UCLA. And so, and that's what we were fighting for from day one in the recruiting process. And we wanted it, and it was sweet. It was such a great ride. And being able to play for both of those awesome coaches, I think really helped me now as a coach, just being exposed to 2 different styles and, 2 different mentors, and the great assistant coaches that were with each of those head coaches were very impactful in my life as well.
So you go from UNLV to Georgia Southern, where you helped them lead the NCAA tournament in 2013. Describe that experience and, the adjustment going as a West Coast person. Now you're going East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was we were in Statesboro, Georgia Southern, right outside of Savannah. For me, I love to travel. I have a very adventurous soul. So, going that far across the country, at the early 20s, whatever age I was, that was, I was ready for it. I was ready for that change and see new places and experience new things. And that team was really good. We had a really good pitching staff and some awesome athletes. And so it was a great experience to be able to go into a top program in the SoCon, win it, and then go to postseason in Gainesville. So that experience there was really cool. And I got to, Savannah's top 5 in my book of one of best U.S. cities. It's really cool. I really enjoyed my time there.
Yeah, I've noticed you've been in some good cities there. I mean, Vegas, Savannah. You got Bloomington added there. Uh, describe you for people that didn't see you play. Describe you as a player. What kind of player you were, and how are you different or the same? Like, how's Kendall Fearn the coach and Kendall Fearn the player different or the same?
Um, I think for me as a coach, if I were to go back after knowing what I know now, it's interesting, right? Like to think about what that process would be like. And I think that's always an interesting perspective if a young person is ever able the opportunity to play after, which is great. Our pro league is growing and the way that our athletes, especially softball, can, have a longer career. I think that's so cool because in college, I believe you're not, although there is amazing seasons and amazing performances on the whole, this game can be played into age 30s, and so the amount of growth that happens, I think, can really change a career. So for me though, I think I'm kind of the same. Like I loved playing. Practice is the best part of my day. It was as a player. And game is the best part of the day. So and that's what I try to make it for my players. I want practice to be the best part of their day. This game is meant to be played with excitement, enthusiasm, competitiveness, and just intensity. And so I think I was a passionate player, and I think I'm a passionate coach. So I think it's probably the same.
So you go from Georgia Southern to Marshall, where you talked about going for Coach Stanton. What was unique about your situation? You're following Amanda Williams, who was on the staff at Chelsea, but they had just won CUSA championship in 2013, broken through. And Amanda's one of the most popular Thundering Herd of all time. She's a Hall of Fame player, did a great job as a coach. What was it like following her from the standpoint? Here you are. I mean, you've seen the Marshall fans are rabid, loyal, passionate. And I think that's why Coach Stanton and Marshall really fit well, because I think there was that rah and that passion that both have. But you're following a legend in over there at A-Will, from the standpoint of not just, following her, but you're inheriting her players. She has her style, you have your style. Talk about that transition and that uniqueness that you're following somebody that's very well, obviously, respected and admired over there.
Yeah. A-Will we still keep in touch. When we recruit in Atlanta, we get to see her. We had gone back to different Hall of Fames for Marshall or alumni games. Marshall is family. So even though I didn't play there, I feel a part of the Marshall softball alumni family. And I think she is the heartbeat of that alumni base. She's the alumni coordinator. She was very welcoming. I think that she was a high level player. So that's how the hitters and the outfielders were, that's the position that I coached at Marshall. And so the athletes that were there at one point we had 3 all CUSA performers in the outfield. Morgan Zerkle, Kaylin Green, Emily Cooper. I'm probably leaving some out, but I mean, we had some exceptional athletes who, really were very similar to a style of play that she had. So, thankful for what she did and how she, welcomed both Chanda and I into that Marshall family. It's a pretty cool program that I was able to be a part of there.
You won a conference championship. I believe it was 17. Jordan Dix was the ace. Of course, you mentioned Morgan Zerkle. I mean, it's well documented her career, legendary career with her. It's probably if Marshall fans debate her versus Folden versus A-Will as among maybe the greatest hitters of all time. She got, has played for Team USA nationally. What was it like coaching Morgan?
It was great to see the transformation and where she's at now. I just talked to her last week, and and she's evolved from being a bunt run to perfecting a bunt, to perfecting the slap, to hitting not only for average but now for power. I mean, I don't know if there's another comparison like of speed and power. I mean, she's she is elite in that category. And so being able to coach her was a lot of fun. Anytime you have a hitter like her step into the box, you know something great is going to happen. And so it's exciting. I think especially as a hitting coach, that's what you want. You want to have hitters in your lineup where when they get in the box, you know something great is going to happen. And she just has so many tools that she could use. So yeah, coaching Z was awesome. And we're so proud of what she continues to do, not only with her professional career, but also coaching career at Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, she's really making a name for herself there with at Miami of Ohio. There, her name is gone up as a coach. That's got to make you all proud. They're coming from that tree, learning from you all, and now her career, as you mentioned, continues to extend now and having success.
Yeah, definitely. And Z was a GA for us at Indiana, and so was Gwen Speckis. And so just being able to have them around our program, for our players to see what it takes and what kind of weight they're lifting, how they train, how they go about their business, how they talk ball. It's always great to be able to be around that for our student athletes.
Describe winning that CUSA title, making the NCAAs. I remember I asked Coach Bell about it because you played in Lexington, which she's quite familiar with, and had some battles there. What was that experience like, winning that conference championship and making the NCAAs again at Marshall and before going to Indiana?
It was awesome to be able to see a group that was projected to win, take care of business, and they were so deserving of that championship. And we won the regular season on our field to be able to celebrate there and see their hard work, come with the championship their senior year. Was awesome. And to be able to go to Lexington and have the following that we did, being so close, and also the herd just traveled deep. So that was a great experience. It was 4 years in the making. And so a lot of hard work and, a lot of dedication and commitment to that point.
Describe comparing making the tournament as a player versus making it as a coach.
I mean, being able to play on that stage is outstanding. To see your name flash up on the board with your teammates, especially as, for UNLV, we were not large. So we were the last regional to be announced. We were actually out at a teammate of ours had a houseboat on Lake Mead. And so that's where we watched the selection show. It was a pretty magical moment. And then we all went to the top level of the houseboat and jumped off, and we were all just so excited and ready to get back to work and get out to the regional and make a statement. And just to be in those moments was really cool. I can't imagine what it would be like now, seeing the stage that our sport has developed and the exposure that our sport is getting. I think the experience is even greater. So really exciting as a coach in that way. So it's important. It's our mission. It's our drive at Indiana to get there. And I'm excited because we have something great going. And I think I know it in my heart that Indiana is going to be a postseason contender. And, just can't wait for that experience for our student athletes, because I know it was a great one for myself.
Well, and that'll be my last question now as you get set for this season. What's going to be the keys for this team to accomplish your internal goals? What are going to be a couple of keys factors for this team to have the success and have the goals, accomplish the goals you have internally?
Outside of the tactical goals of, being able to play defense and score runs, I think for us, it's going to be able to, we're going to prepare in ways that are going to help us win. And we need to separate the things that are not going to help us win. And that's what we've been doing all fall and into this winter. This team is ready. They're hungry. And, it's when they are out there practicing, our infield is electric. They'll just rotate from position to position. And our outfield is competing and hungry for spots. And so I think for us, we're gonna grow quick, and we're gonna grow through these experiences. We get to play the reigning national champ and runner up. And so, we're gonna have some great opportunities to play against some very, very good teams. And so I think it's just getting that experience, learning from it, and trusting our skills, and having fun while we play the game that we love, in lion mode.
Yeah, and you're not afraid to play people. You mentioned you're going to play Oklahoma in Oklahoma City as part of a tournament. You're playing Florida State and Tallahassee as
Mm.
part of a tournament. So y'all are not ducking anybody by any stretch. You guys will travel and play anywhere, anybody, anywhere, anytime, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're excited to play those teams, and be in those opportunities. If you want to be the best, you got to play the best, and we're excited with this group, to meet that moment.
Well, we're excited to see your team play this upcoming season. And in the meantime, it's been a blast to talk to you. I'm so excited to make this happen, and have been wanted to talk to you on the show for a while. And I appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy schedule as you get set for the season, but thanks so much for coming on. And I always appreciate talking to you. And we'll definitely do this again down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric.